Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
A very good evening, I'm Mahina Bongso. To our viewers here at home and to you, Shane, in my hand is a document. And in this document contains some shocking exposés about individuals and institutions who have been involved in frauds and corrupt activities in Sri Lanka. Now, we have a comprehensive report on the contents of this document, which is, as I said, a shocking exposé into these nefarious activities that have been going on within the country. That's coming up later on in the bulletin tonight.
All right, Mahina, but before that, let's go in for the headlines.
Uncertainty surrounds the future of the Anti-Corruption Secretariat while files gather dust at the Attorney General's department. A warning from the former president's residence in Hambantota. Deputy Minister Ajit Pereira presents letters to party supporters promising employment as drivers in the power sector following training. Vehicular procession carrying sacred relics to the Sirasa International Vesak Zone reaches Yakkala. Two High Commissioners and two ambassadors presented their credentials to President Maithripala Sirisena at the Presidential Secretariat today. The new appointments include the High Commissioners of Malta and New Zealand and ambassadors from Indonesia and Nepal. President Maithripala Sirisena emphasized that it is the foreign policy of the current government to utilize the assistance of all countries for the economic development of Sri Lanka. He also said that he hopes the new diplomats would work towards strengthening bilateral relations with their respective states.
Close to 35 cases investigated by the Police Financial Crimes Investigation Division are languishing with no further action being taken as the police await the instructions of the Attorney General. Some of the investigation files have been referred to the Attorney General's department 2 years ago.
Notably, a majority of the cases awaiting the instructions of the Attorney General are cases relating to the Rajapaksa family. Among these are a complaint against former President Mahinda Rajapaksa regarding the purchase of the Marriott Hotel in Dubai. Another case awaiting the instructions of the Attorney General pertains to allegations against businessman Nishantha Lokuvithana and his relationship with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa in deals ranging between 48 and 190 million rupees. The FCID has completed investigations into charges against former Minister Basil Rajapaksa over financial fraud that reportedly occurred through the Yali Pubudamu program. The list includes a case filed against Basil Rajapaksa and Thirukumar Nadesan at the Pugoda Magistrates Court in relation to several economic development projects. Furthermore, investigations have been completed into allegations that Basil Rajapaksa's wife, Pushpa Rajapaksa, had misappropriated a sum of 19.4 million rupees, monies suspected to have been received from the Ports Authority via the account of the Pushpa Rajapaksa Foundation. The FCID have investigated a complaint against a group including former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa over a 600 million rupee financial irregularity in the transaction of shares of Lanka hospitals. In addition, Gotabaya Rajapaksa is accused of misappropriating a sum of 91 million rupees, including using state property for the D.A. Rajapaksa Museum. The list of cases awaiting the instructions of the Attorney General include the file on the establishment of a Bank of Ceylon branch in Seychelles and the transfer of funds to companies in that country. This is currently being heard at the 4th Magistrates Court. The FCID has investigated charges against former Chief Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa and former monitoring MP Sajjan Divas Gunawardena on procuring and keeping luxury buses worth 35 million rupees in violation of the tender procedure. Instructions of the Attorney General have been delayed with regard to several charges against the former President's Chief of Staff, Gamini Senarath. The list includes cases pertaining to the forceful acquisition of the Zinc Lanka Hotel project, misleading the Cabinet of Ministers, and failing to make monthly repayments and interest payments for 31 vehicles purchased through a leasing company. Allegations have been levelled at Sajjan Divas Gunawardena in relation to this transaction. Accepting that the Attorney General's department is in receipt of these files, Attorney General Jayantha Jayasuriya noted that the files are being examined, giving priority to serious allegations.
නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ ෆයිල් ගොඩ ගැහෙනවා Files are piling up at the Attorney General's department. The government is indirectly using political influence to delay instructions being issued by the Attorney General. Charges are continuously being levelled at government ministers, public officials and department heads. In order to prevent these investigations from proceeding, they have cut off funding to the Anti-Corruption Secretariat and are undermining investigations into corruption. The most important promise given to the people at the 8th January 2015 election has become a fallacy. There was a rumour recently that these files had been brought to the Prime Minister's office. Now the political interference has reached further, and not only are they trying to shut down the Anti-Corruption Secretariat, over the past several days, we have also observed that they are attempting to blame officials at the Secretariat. The senior leadership of the government has cast away their mandate from the people and are working towards their political motives. We call on the government continuously to strengthen the mandate within and outside Parliament and take steps to empower these institutions and punish the corrupt. The Anti-Corruption Committee was formed with members being drawn from various political parties. This in itself raised a problematic situation. When daylight bank robberies like the Central Bank bond scam occurred, the Anti-Corruption Committee was lethargic in investigating it because it involved the UNP. There were allegations that it was a green anti-corruption unit. So suspicions have arisen regarding this, and the President will make a final decision.
Confusion surrounds a media release from the Prime Minister's office today. The statement announces a special committee has been appointed to look into whether the tenure of the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat should be extended. However, when Newsfirst inquired as to who has been appointed to this committee, the response from the Prime Minister's Secretariat was unexpected.
According to the release by the Prime Minister's office, the committee consists of representatives from the Bribery Commission, Police FCID and the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat. The release notes that the committee is in the process of preparing a special report. Following the examination of this report, a decision will be made on whether the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat should be allowed to function, its mandate be altered, or it should be awarded equal powers similar to that of the Bribery Commission and the Police FCID.
The Prime Minister's office had issued a media release on the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat.
Madam, you have to ask that from someone Atau the Hetti.
This release says that a committee is drafting a special report to make the functions of this Secretariat more efficient. Could I please know who the members of this committee are?
I actually do not know.
But you are the Secretary.
Yes, but I do not know who the members are. So ask someone.
A media release had been issued on the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat and that a committee is drafting a special report. Could I know the members of this committee?
I do not know about that. You may have to ask the Secretary about the committee because it consists of officials from all three institutions.
However, the Police FCID as well as the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat confirmed to Newsfirst that they have not appointed representatives to such a committee.
Two police teams have been deployed to conduct investigations into a break-in at the storage room of the Putliam District Court.
According to police, the suspects have broken into the storage room from the roof. Information is yet to be revealed regarding the missing items. Police said that investigators are gathering fingerprint evidence from the scene. On the 8th of March, unidentified persons broke in through a window to a room at the Balapitiya High Court containing files and case items relating to closed cases.
Now the government has taken a decision to close down the anti-corruption unit. Then there are people who go into the Putlam courthouse and rob the case record. 2 months before Balapitiya courthouse was raided, case records went missing. So this is not the mandate which the people have given this government. Basically, the people gave a mandate for this government to bring the wrongdoers to book, stop corruption and see that there is good governance. Now, when this type of actions take place, what is the fate the people of this country are going to have? Will they support a government like this in the future? Is the government going to appoint a commission for all this and completely ignore the whole corruption incident or the slogan which this government came to power in? Therefore, it is time that someone takes action, because the people of this country are not going to wait indefinitely as waiting for the wrongdoers to be brought to book. We urge the government not to close down the anti-corruption unit, get the files investigated, bring the perpetrators to justice, and show this country that they are able to abide by the mandate which has been given to the people.
A great deal of debate has arisen with regard to a letter issued by Deputy Minister of Power and Renewable Energy, Ajit P. Pereira.
This letter, issued under the signature of Deputy Minister Ajit P. Pereira, details of 500 job opportunities for drivers in the energy sector, along with training by the SLTB and heavy vehicle licenses. The letter called on applicants to come in for an initial interview on the 28th of last month at the UNP office in Rambukkana. The letter also states some documentation that should be brought for the interview. When inquired, the Deputy Minister said that the interviews are being conducted through party funds. The Deputy Minister also said that once the applicants conclude training, they will be able to apply for different jobs. There should be a policy on jobs. They used to call Ranil Wickremesinghe Mr. Clean. However, where is the national policy for giving away jobs? The politicians give jobs to their party members. We saw recently how a politician from Kandy appointed advisors. They have appointed unsuitable individuals to positions in the state service. The CEB is the latest example. We need to ask, when there were calls not to bring the audit division of the CEB under the administration of the general manager, did the minister speak up? No, because they needed to get approval for such activities as well. We should stop these acts and recruit people based on competitive exams. Else, this is a step backwards. Meanwhile, a special notice has been issued to individuals who passed the Korean language proficiency exam and are awaiting a chance to seek employment in South Korea. The notice calls on expectant workers to deposit a security bond of 500,000 rupees in addition to the bonds that have already been asked to be paid prior to departure for employment. The release also notes that the bonds will be redeemable when the bank slips are produced after the workers return to the country. President, for your attention.
Up next is Action TV. The scam, which involved the unlawful sale of land belonging to the Land Reform Commission and unclaimed land in the Putlam district through the use of forged deeds, has once again raised its head in the area. The most recent example of this activity is the clearing of land belonging to the Munda Kaduwala Nature Reserve. This land, which was declared a nature reserve in 2013, consists of approximately 300 acres and is located in close proximity to the Anavil Udawa International Ramsar Wetland Sanctuary. The nature reserve is home to many variety of birds. At the time this land was declared a nature reserve, several politicians from the Putlam district divided the land into plots and thereafter leased it out to a private company.
About 3 to 4 years ago, a certain politician sold this land to a third party, but the transaction was prevented from being finalized through the intervention of the Sirsa Media Network and another politician from the area. Now, plans are being made again to sell this land.
The clearing of this land, which is home to several species of migrating birds, has commenced through a letter that has been sent to the Mundalama Divisional Secretary from the Secretary of a particular minister. This Divisional Secretary, who appears to have bowed down to political pressure, had taken steps to clear this land and had not even informed the Putlam Divisional Secretary of the clearing project by this evening. Is it not a joke that at a time when there is a national drive to protect the environment and projects have been launched to secure the environment, the law is not being enforced with regard to the clearing of this nature reserve? Secretary to the Ministry of Environment, this is over to you.
Dr. Mahim Mendis expressed the following views on the current state of the country.
Those who have been accused of corruption, those who have been accused of many different criminal charges, are accusing the government that they are unable to prove their charges and hoodwink the people. That is a very dangerous trend, because the ordinary people of the land do not know what has exactly happened. They need to be punished if they are guilty. The people who are responsible for the killings need to be dealt with urgently. That is what we can say as members of the civil society. We don't want to accuse the government of being deaf and blind under any circumstances.
33 dead following the collapse of a garbage dump in China. Perpetrators sentenced to 20 years in prison. 32 dead following the collapse of the Mithotamulla garbage dump. Have the responsible parties been punished? Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, this is over to you.
The central bank has failed to comply with an order issued by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry.
The Presidential Commission had instructed the bank to make available to former Governor Arjuna Mahendran to the Monetary Board minutes, board papers and memorandums during his tenure as governor. The Commission reissued the order to the Monetary Board. The Commission was keen to know who prepared the footnotes in the COPE report when Chairman of COPE, Sunil Handunnetti, provided evidence. Handunnetti testified that Deputy Minister Dr. Harsha De Silva included all the footnotes in the final report in the documentation process. He said the footnotes were added as there were disagreements on certain points, and thereby they were annexed to the report. The COPE chairman said his committee considered the immediate losses calculated by the Auditor General, but noted that COPE did not calculate the potential future losses.
මං හිතන්නේ කෝප් කාර්ක සභාවේ ඉදිරිපත් කරපු නිර්දේශ සහ නිගමන
We believe that the Presidential Commission will prescribe the legal power required to enforce the recommendations of COPE. I also hope that the reports of the Presidential Commission and COPE will assist in drafting a proper framework and system for this process in order to prevent such financial losses from occurring in the future. There is a truth that has been proven in society. All that remains now is to see whether it will be proven by law.
Deputy Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe was extensively questioned on the fiscal policy. Attorney at Law Harsha Fernando meanwhile suggested to the witness that the private placement method was flawed. Attorney at Law, appearing on behalf of current Deputy Governor P. Samarasiri, suggested to the witness that the Public Debt Department had in fact quote-unquote encouraged the EPF to make bids and thereby creating an artificial interest rate, which in the end resulted in distorting the markets. From the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, I'm Zulfiq Farzan for News First.
The vehicular parade carrying sacred relics to the Sirasa John Keel's International Vesak Zone reached Yakkala today.
The sacred relics, including the relics of the Arhats, which are kept at the Nelligal International Buddhist Center in Kandy, commenced the journey to the Sirasa John Keel's International Vesak Zone from the historic Vattarama Arhat Malyadeva Rajama Vihare in Kegol. The procession made its way to the Colombo-Kandy main road from the Ranvala junction and proceeded to the Sri Stalli Dasaramaya in Yakkala, passing towns including Kalikamua, Melundeniya, Warakapula and Nithambua. Thousands of devotees poured into the streets to pay floral tributes. Dancehalls were also held along the road.
ඇත්තටම සන්තෝෂයි මෙවැනි භාග්‍යයක් අපට ලැබීම ගැන ඒ ගැන අපේ සිරසට අපේ ප්‍රණාමය පුද කරනවා. මම මේ වගේ අවස්ථාව ලබා දීම ගැන බොහොම පිං.
The sacred relics were placed at the Bauddhaloka Vidyathan Pirvena in Kurunegala yesterday. A large number of devotees flocked to pay their tributes yesterday and today. Following religious observances, the relics of Arhat, Sariputta and Moggallana, which are held in trust by the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society, and the sacred relics from the Sandakiri Mahasaya in Tissamaharama were brought to the Mihintale Rajama Vihara. The vehicular procession carrying the relics of the Arhats, including Arhat Mahinda, commenced in this manner.
द्वितीय संभाव अघ कुलीनो देव मानुष नामसित पादो.
The afternoon puja took place at the Huddala Sri Jayasundara Ramaya. The vehicular procession carrying the sacred relics recommenced and travelled through Pothuhara, Polgavela, Alauwa, Warakapula and Nitambua to Yakkala. Floral tributes were made by devotees who gathered along the roadside while the processions passed by. Certain devotees were seen cleansing the road with saffron water.
With intermittent showers now being experienced in certain parts of the island, there appears to be a rise in dengue-related cases. Health sectors point out that given the prevailing situation, the general public has to focus their attention on keeping their surrounding environments clean.
The National Dengue Control Unit says the highest number of dengue-related patients are being reported from the Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Batticaloa, Trincomalee, Jaffna, Galle, Mathura, Kurunegala and Putlam districts. The dengue fever has claimed 90 lives within the 4 months and 8 days so far this year. Health units say over 40,000 patients in the country are currently receiving treatment for dengue. This has caused an increase in dengue patients receiving in-house treatment at several hospitals. As the situation worsens, doctors strongly advise that a blood test be taken within 24 hours of contracting a fever.
In view of the fact that dengue fever could become almost an epidemic in the next few months in this country because of the rains that are going to come and will come, I'm sure, I would strongly suggest that this government, the WHO, the Ministry of Health, the Sri Lanka Medical Associations and the GMOA and all doctors in this country give the highest priority to the prevention and eradication of dengue as soon as possible. For the early detection of dengue fever, I have suggested that after 12 to 24 hours of any fever, even with a cold or a throat pain, not to take any chances and to do the dengue antigen test with a full blood count after 24 hours, the latest. This will give us an idea that whether the patient is coming in for dengue fever or not. If the dengue antigen test is positive, it will give an indication to the family and the doctors that this patient is going to come in, have a fairly severe attack of dengue. After that, for the next 4 to 6 days, a full blood count must be done so that this will help in the treatment of dengue fever by all the doctors in this country, whom I'm sure have a very good knowledge of how to treat dengue fever.
Doctors anticipate the number of dengue patients may rise further in June. Therefore, it is the responsibility of every citizen of the country to ensure that their surroundings are kept clean.
In more local news, the joint opposition convened a media briefing in Hambantota today.
We have held discussions about the election with the local government minister. First, he said there was a delimitation issue. Now the process has been completed and the report has been submitted to him. Who is he going to pass the blame on to now? The government must intervene and hold the election. Back during Mahinda Rajapaksa's tenure, the elections commissioner was depicted in cartoons as a lion. Today he is depicted as a cat. Why? Because he does not have any responsibility.
Keep in mind, if you try to use force, there will be a repeat of what happened in 1989. Don't let that happen. Let the people have a fair and just election.
We will challenge Sarath Fonseca. Try to hang them using the sash. We will stone you to death. We can do that. We have the strength, the power and the courage. The Rajapaksas have built this in Hambantota.
Three more suspects have been taken into custody over the recent abduction of a child from the Gampula area.
Police said the suspects were arrested from Pallamune Kattankudi and are to be produced in courts later today. As of now, 6 suspects have been arrested in connection with the abduction. 2 women and the mastermind behind the abduction, who were arrested on an earlier occasion, have been placed in remand custody until the 18th of this month. Police successfully rescued the 2.5-year-old Rinaz Muhammad Salman on the 19th of May while he was being held captive in a house in Karadianaru, Batiklo. He was kidnapped from Gampolo on the 3rd of May.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa laid the foundation stone for a model village in the Hambantota district that is being built under the theme Samata Sevena project.
The model village, which has been named Setsapirigama, is being built in the Sinimun area in Lunugambehra. We are currently constructing 378 Udagam manas around the country because of the peace given to us by our war heroes. Unfortunately, there are 3,650 families of war heroes without a home. Even though they brought a great victory to the country, their housing needs were not met in the past. I am happy to state that the President and I submitted a joint cabinet paper to build homes for all those families within just 4 years. I state with responsibility that the good governance government will end the housing issue of war heroes.
And finally, on sports news tonight, according to the manager of the Sri Lanka cricket team, Asanka Gurusinghe, the squad has begun practices ahead of the 2017 ICC Champions Trophy.
The ICC Champions Trophy will begin on the 1st of June and will go on till the 18th of June in England. The Sri Lankan squad was seen practicing today at the R. Premadasa Stadium.
අපි දැන් ගොඩක් හොඳට පුහුණුවීම් කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා දැන් දවස් 5ක් විතර පටන් අරගෙන අපි හදා
We began practices about 5 days ago. Our first match is scheduled for the 3rd of June. We hope to increase our training regimen so that the players achieve peak fitness around that time. We are putting a lot of effort into our fielding. We will be travelling to England on the 18th and we will be training in Kent for about a week before the tournament starts. We will also be playing 2 practice matches against Scotland.
Well, look, it's a very good squad. I said that right from the word go. You know, it's nice that the captain's back in the group, arrived back from Delhi last night. Angelo Matthews, Lasith Malinga, who will probably join us in the UK, the way that Mumbai Indians are going at the moment. The players didn't arrive at this camp lacking match practice or, so let's say, are lacking bowling or lacking batting. Everyone's really worked hard at their own individual skills. We've broken it down to very specific rather than just running in and bowling for the sake of it and getting a neck practice too long. So we've been very good from that perspective.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on Primetime News tonight. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.